All right, well, good morning, everyone. I have introduced House Bill 3421, the Equal Justice for All Act, to end the system of cash bond in Illinois. The presumption of innocent until proven guilty is a cornerstone of the American judicial system. Incarceration before trial is a violation of due process in law and has devastating consequences for communities all across this state. In our current system, whether or not someone is in jail has more to do with wealth than risk. Our jails have become, as President Preckwinkle has often said, the intersection between racism and poverty in this state and in this country. The time to end this discriminatory and wasteful practice is right now. 95% of people in Cook County Jail are awaiting trial, and 62% of them cannot pay money bond. We know that putting people in jail before trial increases their likelihood of committing future crimes, so it is not keeping us any safer. An unnecessary pretrial detention is a terrible waste of resources, costing taxpayers in Cook County, for example, more than $150 per day. Those are resources that could be spent on education, investments in jobs, and social services that would not only strengthen communities, but create the conditions in which crime would not happen as much in the first place. So House Bill 3421 does three primary things. First, it prohibits the use of monetary bonds in Illinois so that poverty is no longer the deciding factor in whether or not someone remains in jail while awaiting trial. Second, creates a presumption that people charged with nonviolent offenses are released on their own recognizance, and provision of pretrial services to increase court appearances by the accused. Third and finally, and this is important, it preserves judicial discretion to order detention or electronic monitoring for people found to have a risk of harming others. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Tyler Smith to share his testimony. I will be back at the end to take questions.
Hello, everyone. To me, the bond system is not about justice. It's about money. Under the bond system, whether or not you're incarcerated depends on one thing: how much money you have in your account or in your wallet. I spent more than 8 months on house arrest just because I couldn't pay the full amount for my bond. The effect of that was I lost both of my jobs. My ability to go to school was diminished. I had to drop out because I ain't had no way to get to school, and other financial and other housing situation affected me and my family. So eliminating bond will increase employment and decrease the things that is going on in Cook County right now as overcrowdedness. So it affects not just me, not just one person, but it affects the whole family as in one whole. And that's all.
Good morning. My name's Charlene Grayson, and I'm the Senior Criminal Justice Policy Analyst at Chicago Appleseed Fund for Justice. Chicago Appleseed is a nonprofit research and advocacy organization that advocates for fair courts and equal access to justice. Chicago Appleseed has been working to reform Cook County's bond court since 2005. Our 2011 study of the Central Bond Court found that the average bond hearing lasted just 37 seconds, and that most hearings were completed in between 20 and 30 seconds. So in less than a minute, judges are deciding whether or not someone will be released or incarcerated while their trial is pending. Felony cases in Cook County often take a year or more to resolve, and defendants who cannot pay their monetary bonds languish in jail at great cost to taxpayers and with terrible impacts on their own lives. Sorry. Even a few days of incarceration causes people to lose jobs and housing. Pretrial incarceration can result in loss of benefits and even lost custody of children. Furthermore, incarcerating someone pretrial increases the chances that they will take a guilty plea or be found guilty by a jury. Pretrial detention increases recidivism, and incarcerated people receive longer sentences than people who were released pending trial. The harms of pretrial incarceration fall unevenly on the shoulders of people of color, and particularly African Americans accused of crimes. African Americans are the least likely to be given a non-monetary release and the least likely to be able to pay a money bond if they are given one. Pretrial incarceration is fundamentally coercive, As long as access to money remains a factor in who is incarcerated and who is released pending trial, our criminal justice system is punishing people for being poor. Illinois can and must do better. People charged with crimes are presumed innocent. Their liberty must not be taken away lightly, and certainly not because they are unable to pay a certain amount to get out of jail. It is time to end the use of money bond in Illinois and dramatically reduce our reliance on pretrial incarceration.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Garland. That's SHEILAHGARLAND. I'm with National Nurses United. So National Nurses United is here in support of House Bill 3421, the Equal Justice for All bill. We believe this bill will address the serious systemic issues that patients and inmates in our jails face. A key issue of interest for the nurses in this bill is that it seeks to address long-standing issues of lack of access to mental health and addiction healthcare services. Cook County holds the record for being the largest facility for holding the mentally ill and people with addictions. This practice exists in large part because of long-standing issues of racism and economic violence and injustices in communities, particularly of color. But primarily this exists when access to public mental health and public mental addiction care services were closed and privatized, most notably under the Reagan years. Criminalizing mental health and addictions, as one can imagine, only serves to exacerbate other health care and societal issues, such as increases in violence and physical and sexual assaults in the very jails to which these patients are consigned. Far too many patients end up being not only mistreated, but could potentially lose their very lives because of unjust lockups, rather than being treated with mental health services and the necessary care they need to be restored to full health and live a life of dignity so that they can contribute to their communities. In conclusion, we must strengthen our healthcare system and bring good jobs to people who have too long felt the repression of the current, should I say, injustice system. And today, I speak for the nurses and the other workers that serve in our jails and our hospitals who believe that the way we have practiced criminal justice in this county and in this state and indeed in this country has failed. Today is an opportunity to start a new round for a bold and righteous vision for justice and equality. And we, the nurses, applaud Representative Mitchell for introducing this legislation, and we look forward to working with him through this legislative process.
Good morning. I am Reverend Dwayne Grant, pastor of Experience Church with an X. I pastor in the community of Inglewood. America is often referred to as the land of liberty, yet we have more incarcerated than anywhere in the world. The bail system in Cook County and throughout the state of Illinois is broken. I can testify to that both as a pastor and a person who's been through that system. Some years ago, before I became a pastor, I made a mistake, as young men often are prone to do. I was arrested for that lapse of judgment and ended up in bond court. Bond court is like an assembly line. They don't listen to you. They don't listen to testimony. It's a machine. I ended up having to come up with $1,000 in bail money that I didn't have. So I spent weeks in jail while my wife worked on getting the bail money together. I have 5 daughters, including twins, that at that time ranged from ages 9 to 12. 9 to 21. So my wife was left caring for all of them, plus making ends meet while I was working. And she was working as hard as she could to come up with the money. I sat in that jail for 24 hours a day facing threats because I refused to claim a set, a gang faction, or an affiliation. Now as a pastor, I see that there are thousands of people in our communities who sit in jail, though they have not been convicted of a crime, but because they cannot afford bail. Often they lose their jobs. Sometimes it puts their families in jeopardy, and it forces them into a deep downward spiral. This, friends, does not make our community safer. I've been standing up for gun violence in Inglewood and throughout Cook County for years. But a criminal justice system that destroys lives, it just makes them more desperate. And you know what? Desperate people do desperate things. We need to address the root causes of crime and violence, which are injustice and inequality, rather than just lock up poor people. Isaiah 1:17 says, learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case for the widow. As a child, I remember placing my hand over my heart, saying, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. All does mean all, doesn't it? Thank you.
All right. With that, I will open it up to questions. If you could just identify your outlet, because I don't think I know everybody's name. Just give me your name and your outlet. All right. Yes, sir.
Bill Cameron from WLS.
Hey, Bill.
Speaker Madigan about your bill, and what does he think?
I have not. Sorry. So the question was, have I talked to Speaker Madigan about the bill? So I actually forwarded the bill to the Speaker's staff. I think because it's a bill that potentially reduces the cost of incarceration and could save the state and the county some money, I think it's something that they're interested in. They indicated that they want to look at the bill, as other folks have, but I think they'll be receptive.
Claire Donovan from WBEC Radio.
Hi, Claire.
In layman's terms, what exactly does this bill do?
In layman's terms, this bill ends monetary bail in the state of Illinois and takes us to a place where whether or not someone is incarcerated pretrial, insofar as it's necessary, is about risk rather than being about poverty. Did I see a hand? Okay. No problem. Other questions? Going once, going twice. Yes, ma'am.
Associated with the Sun-Times, do you feel like you have enough bipartisan support to pass this bill?
Thank you. So the question was, do I feel that I'll have enough bipartisan support to pass the bill? The governor and Republicans in Springfield have shown that they are willing to consider reasonable measures on criminal justice, especially ones that can save money. Many of the states leading around the country on issues of criminal justice are places like South Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, because they're seeing that it just costs too much money to keep people in prison. It costs $150 a day. So I think that there's going to need to be negotiation. This is a very complicated bill. This is a big step. But we wanted to start by laying down a marker for justice. And I think that I welcome input from my Republican friends, and I think there's a lot of reasons for this to be a bipartisan bill. Anyone else? Thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Thanks, John.